Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So in today's video I am going to be sharing with you one of the worst mistakes I made in my business ventures, like one of the biggest traps that I fell into as a young person who was hustling and trying to make ends meet. I see a lot of other young people falling into this trap. Like, it's really very common, and I think that it has done damage to more young people than we are willing to admit. So in today's video I'm going to be sharing my experience and hoping that after having heard it you are not going to fall into the same trap. So welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Binzel, and if you are new here, this is a YouTube series where we share productivity and personal development hacks. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you do not miss any of my videos. About 6 to 7 years ago, when I got into civil engineering school, I went in for a master's program, a master's in civil engineering, which was supposed to take me 5 to 6 years. So I knew I was going to do 5 to 6 years in school, and this was my first time of being away from home, and also my first time of being in Yaoundé. Yaoundé is the capital of Cameroon, for people who do not know about that. Okay, so it was my first time of being away from home, and it was really difficult for me. So eventually I became uncomfortable with having to call home to ask for every little need of mine. I I started getting uncomfortable like every responsible child would. And mind you, it was a transition period for my family because we had just moved to a different town, not Yaoundé, we moved to a different town, and we were not really very settled. So I felt uncomfortable having to call all the time to ask for finances, to ask for help with this and help with that. And just moving into a new school, you have a lot of things that you have to put in order first. So there were like a lot of expenses and need for me to call back over and over again. So I started thinking, what can I do to start getting some money into my pocket? I thought of it. I was like, I can't really start selling products, tangible products, because I would need capital to get the products to start selling. I didn't know much about affiliate marketing at the point, so I didn't consider that. So I kept thinking, I'm like, okay, if you do not have capital to start selling like tangible products, you may want to uh, lay back on your, I don't know, to rely on your talents, on your skills, on things that you can sell as services. So what can you do with your hands? At that point, I had not even learned how to do makeup and hairstyling like I already do now. So I couldn't sell that either. And when I looked through, I did not know how to do a lot with my hands. I didn't know how to do a lot with my hands. So because I had to consider the fact that I would be going to school while doing this. So the only thing that stood out to me was my cognitive abilities. Like, I could learn things fast, and not only learn, I could teach other people. Yeah, I could teach other people. So I thought of it, and I it occurred to me that, okay, the previous year, the year before, that was like 2018. In 2018 I had put in a lot of time and effort into my high school end of course examination. So it's like the final examination in high school in Cameroon, GCE advanced levels. And usually the best points that a person can get in that examination are like 25 points. That would mean that you went in for 5 subjects. That's the highest number of subjects that you can go in for, and you had like the best points, yeah, in those 5 subjects. So I had gone in for like 5 subjects, and that was maths, further maths, physics, biology, and chemistry. So I had gone in for those 5 subjects, and I had like an A plus in all of them. So I had 25 points, 5 points per subject. And I was like, I put in a lot of effort into that examination, such that I gathered so many documents, I documented my summaries, my work, or I did a lot of work for that examination, and of course, the results reflected it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put together a document that I can sell to other younger people who are preparing for that examination. I'm going to do that. And I have to mention that I considered teaching as well. I considered teaching. I actually did that like for a few months where I would go, not really like home teaching. I wasn't really comfortable with home teaching, and I didn't even know how to search because I had just gotten to the town and I didn't know my way around it. So I for a few months I was going to these centers where people have like extra classes for students who cannot really grasp the concepts in class, and then they have to go for like extra lessons and have revision done and stuff like that. So I would go to the owners of these centers, and then I would get myself one or two subjects, and then I would teach there. But it really wasn't it for me. It wasn't working out for me because I have always known that I didn't want to work for somebody. Yeah, I didn't. I always knew that I didn't want to work for somebody. It didn't just start today. So eventually, I gave up on that, and I now focused on putting together my documents, my book, my revision guide. So all I really had to do was like input it in the computer, like have a soft copy form of it, well organized and stuff, and edit and stuff like that. I could do that. I had the skills, I could do it. So I started doing that while going to school, of course. I started putting it together, and I had help from a friend. So we were putting it together. I and her would I'll put input and she does the editing, and input, she does the editing, and so on. So that was how we were progressing. And I got to the level where I now started, after having produced the book. I remember the first copies that I printed. I after having produced it, I didn't know how to go about printing the first copies. So I called my elder sister and I asked her for some money, and she was very happy to give me the money. Like, she was impressed that I made such efforts after being in the town for just a few months. So she gave me the money and I printed the first copies. They were like 50 copies at first. It was really, like really little. It was, yeah, a A5 size. Yeah, A5 size. So I printed it and I went out to the school cell. So what I would do was that I would go to a school, I meet like the principal of the school, and then I present myself. I didn't have like any degree in education or pedagogy or stuff. I didn't have any of that. So I used my achievements to sell. So I would go to this person and I would be like, I went through this exam and I gave him quite a lot, and I understood the concepts, because when the way that I prepared for the exams, it wasn't just me trying to pass the exams, but I actually went in to understand the concepts. I did a lot of extra studying. So I would sell that to the principal, explain that, and then I'll give the book, and I'll be like, if you would just have your head of department for, because it was like biology and chemistry, if you just had your head of department look through it, and if they vet the document, if they think that it is good for your students, then I would be glad to sell it to your student at a discounted price. And it worked like magic. Like, it worked a lot because the content was really that good. The value of the book was there. It was that good. So that was how I went about it. And mind you, this was me in a town that I had never been before. And in Yaoundé, the primary language spoken by the population is French. So I had to find my way. I had a lot of struggles. But none of that was stopping me. None of that was stopping me. I usually, Yaoundé is the center region of Cameroon, has like 10 divisions. And in the first year of being in Yaoundé, I went to the 10 divisions. Like, I would just find out the location of the place on the map. I'll go to the park, get in a bus, and I'm headed for that place. That was how hard I was hustling, because I knew that each of the divisions had like a government bilingual high school. So I was looking for bilingual schools because I was selling to English speaking students. Yeah, the exams is for English speaking, the English section of the country, something of that sort. Yeah, the English subsystem of education in the country. So I was looking for, that was my market. I was looking for them. I went out, I traveled to look for them. So it was work. And then I had a lot of people, um I had people who proposed to work with me. So eventually I had to get a team. I couldn't do all that by myself. So I had another friend, a male friend who would move around with me. And then we had an older guy who was printing. He was in his 40s, who was taking care of the printing. So I kind of came to an agreement with him where we would print the books. He would print the books in bulk, and then when we would travel to a school, we would present the book to the students. Because I didn't allow the principals to present the books for me. I presented the book by myself. I presented the book by myself because that was one of my selling points. I could talk to people, so I took advantage of that. I usually would ask for an opportunity to meet all the students, and I would talk to them. I would convince them about the content of the book. Sometimes the teachers, the principals, they would come along with me and back up what I was saying. So it was working really well. And I was selling one copy of the book at 5,000 francs at that time. So we would go to a school and sell books in hundreds of copies. Mind you, we'll sell books in hundreds of copies. Like I would get there and we would present the books, and most of the time the students will be like, but we didn't come with money to buy the books. And we'll be like, okay, we have talked with your principal and you can have the books. And then we agree on the day where you will bring, everybody brings the money for the book to school. And it was working. Like it was really working. It was like 98% effective. So I kept on going with this and it was working for me. Now where did things go wrong? The type of business that I was in was popular among young guys in Yaoundé. So they weren't like girls doing that sort of a thing. So I was among guys, and I got a lot of proposals from them. I got a lot of people saying we could do this together, we could do that together. But if I'm being honest, most of them were really just trying to rip me off because they felt like I was too small and plus my gender to be handling the type of thing that I had going on. So most of them came close to me trying to rip me off. To be honest, that's what was happening. And of course, I didn't go into a lot of partnerships with them. Even the person that I was printing with backstabbed me, double crossed me. He later on started printing in secret, printing extra in secret, and going to places where we had not visited and selling without my knowledge. So that's what was going on. And of course, there was also an issue of piracy. People started mm, uh, getting as many parts of the book as possible and making it more visually pleasing and selling to other people. So those were the challenges that I was facing. But regardless, I was still doing well. I was still doing really well. So now at some point, these guys, it's usually not our enemies that are going to be the cause of our downfall. It's usually people around us, people whom we listen to, people whom we trust. Because I started having these guys saying like you're all over the place, sweating under the sun in buses, striking deals, negotiating with people older than you. It's not a girl's thing. You're not behaving like a girl. It's not it doesn't look good on a lady. So as I said that, all of that started making me feel uncomfortable because of course I used to feel lonely in that. There are many times, if I'm being honest, that I used to feel like maybe I was doing too much. Maybe I could just sit and get my nails done, get my hair done, put on some makeup, and just be a lady like all the other girls that I was seeing in school. Like I could just be like them, sit down and just be like them. But I had that spirit in me that really wanted to go out and get things done. So as I started saying all these things, they got to my head. They got to my head. I started wondering, maybe you're doing too much, girl. Maybe you're actually trying too hard. Maybe you should just be a lady. So I became uncomfortable with my hustle. I became uncomfortable with my hustle. That was error number one. Number two, somewhere like you were sent to an engineering school and here you are moving up and down selling biology and chemistry books. Where is the relationship? Like they just said things like that. So number two, I became uncomfortable, not just as a lady, but as a civil engineer in training. So you see, all these things now made me step back from the hustling spirit that I had. I now decided, okay, I've already made quite some connections. I've done this for like 3 years. I've made quite some connections. I'm just going to step back and and let the connections that I have made, let them continue working for me. You get, let them continue working for me. And mind you, when I said that, I stopped updating, I stopped editing, I stopped revising the book, I stopped going out and hustling and trying to make more connections and learn more sales. Because I was like, I've been selling in hundreds, so I didn't think that I could go on and try to sell in thousands. So that is what happened, and that is how I stepped back. Mind you, this was something that was making me more financially viable, like than 98% of my peers. But for some reason, because someone said something, so it wasn't the hot sun that discouraged me. It wasn't the losses that discouraged me. It wasn't the double crossing and that discouraged me. It was a mindset. It was something that someone was able to push into my mind, gently suggest to my subconscious. And somehow I believed it, and this is how I stepped back. So I see a lot of young people doing the same thing. I see a lot of young people doing this over and over again. We are more concerned about what is aesthetically pleasing and less concerned about what is paying the bills. That's not the spirit of a hustler. That's not the spirit of a hustler. So let's just start from the aesthetically pleasing part. So a young person wakes up today who is maybe in a medical school, in a law school, and let's face our realities for a second. Yeah, you are in a law school or you just graduated from a law school. The first few years of practicing law are going to be horrible. You're going to be broke. First few years of practicing engineering are going to be bad. You're going to be broke. First few years of practicing medicine are going to be bad. You're going to be broke. But for some reason, you are unwilling to focus, to put energy into that thing that is able to pay the bills at the moment. Nobody is forcing you to abandon law. Nobody's forcing you to abandon what you were trained to do, to go into that thing that isn't well packaged, that other hustle that doesn't look so good on you. Nobody's forcing you to totally abandon the other one for that one. But you should be able to know that at some point in your hustling journey, it is more, what is more important is that thing that pays the bill and not that thing that is aesthetically pleasing. It is for this same reason that you will see a young person who got some capital into their hands, and they want to say, maybe, let me use an example that I can easily relate to. They want to start makeup business. They want to be a makeup artist. So after getting this capital into their hands, what um they've learned the skills, and someone, maybe a family member, decides to invest in them, like, I'm going to give you this capital to get you going. Instead of focusing on maximizing, on stabilizing their value chain, they go for aesthetics. They go for aesthetics. So you see someone who just started off go ahead and get themselves a fancy shop where they have to pay taxes, they have to pay rent, they have to pay many other expenses. In fact, sometimes they're even paying someone cleaning around or paying security. I don't know. But this same business is something that you can do to completely functioning online. Like, you can do home services, work on delivering your value, maximize, stabilize your value chain, work on delivering your value and not on the aesthetics. I, for one, till today, it is because of, I said, we don't have regrets, we just have lessons. It is because of this that till today, I do not yet have a makeup shop, because I know what is important for me. I know what is important to me. Yes, I can learn high profile clients. Yes, I can do that. I can do a job that pays me well without necessarily owning a shop. I'm not saying it's not important to own a shop, but at what level can you afford to own one? At what level do you start valuing aesthetics? Building a brand doesn't mean that you should buy everything beautiful, get all yourself big phones, get yourself big, I don't know. I use an XR. Honestly, I do. Does it get the job done? Yes, it gets the job done. It gets the job done. So it's just crazy how we go about with this mentality. So it is because of this same mentality that you see people taking all the wrong decisions at the early stages of their businesses. It's just totally wrong. Yes, you were trained to be a doctor. Yes, you were trained to be an engineer. If you have decided that you don't want to spend your entire life being a doctor or being an engineer, nobody is holding you down. Don't, it is a fear of what people will say. Spotlight effect. You think that people think care about you, they think about you that much. They are not thinking about you that much. They are not all those things that they are saying that keep you awake at night. Oh, a doctor just became a content creator. They did not even spend a second thinking before saying it. They just spit out nonsense, and then you are going to have to live with the consequences. They spit out nonsense, and then the nonsense is planted in your mind, and then you are going to have to live with the consequences throughout your life. If you decide to become a content creator and put a lot of effort to it, I kid you not, your diligence is going to bring honor to that thing that you are doing. After a certain period of time, it's not just a content creator, it becomes that content creator that doubles as a doctor, that knows what he's saying, that is educated. So it is your responsibility to bring value to that thing. Do not be there defending titles, defending tags, keeping up with appearances. That is not what is good for your business. So that was like the worst thing that I ever did in my business ventures. And of course, I regret I regret having done that. But as we say, we don't dwell in regrets. We pick up the lessons and we move on. So that I'm using that in other things right now. So today, if you see me tomorrow selling bananas on my head, and someone says, "Oh, an engineer selling bananas," oh please, oh please, oh please, I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to sell the banana because when my landlord is going to ask for my rent, I'm not going to go and tell that person, "Oh, please, can you borrow an engineer money to pay their rent? Can you borrow an engineer money to get some food?" No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what pays the bill till I'm able to care about the aesthetics. A person who earns 2 million francs from their business and is using maybe 500 francs on advertisement, it makes sense. They earn 2 million francs from their business. What doesn't make sense is you who earns 50,000 francs per month from your business and you are using, I don't know, 40,000 francs on advertisement. You care so much. It's what we call, everybody's is so busy trying to create a brand. They think that creating brand is about the aesthetics. Sometimes you can create your brand from building your value chain. It's not always about the aesthetics. Okay guys, so I think I've ranted like a whole lot more than I intended to, but I really, really hope that you learned a thing or two from my experience, and that it is going to help you to make the right decisions and to know what to prioritize in the early years of your hustling, in the early years of building your career, in the early years of building your business. Thank you all so much. If you found this video insightful, please don't forget to like, comment, and share. And until next time, bye.